Hello everyone, and today we are going to take a look at my Super Nintendo collections. I've been collecting SNES games. I have owned the SNES since 1993, I think it was. I owned the SNES, or was it 92? Probably 92, 93. Back in the day, back when it was a current system. Got quite a few games here to take a look at. We'll start with some of the boxed ones. We've got, of course, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. This one I bought in 2004. I think it was the first game I ever bought on eBay. It's in reasonable shape, as you can see. The cartridge is in there. You can see it's not too bad. A little bit wear and tear where people open it and things like that. But if we open it out, we can see that it is complete with the cartridge inside and a bit worn instruction manual. I paid about £16 for this in 2004. Nowadays, you know, you're looking at maybe a mint conditioned one. You're probably looking at 80, £90, maybe a triple digits you're looking into, but you know, probably about £50 to £60 you're looking at for just a regular boxed copy. It's reasonable condition. It still works, perfectly working. One of the best games on the system. Anyway, we'll take a look at, next we have International Superstar Soccer, ISS, as it was better known, made by Konami. Not the best one. The best one to get is ISS Deluxe. That's the one to go for. But again, I think this one's pretty complete as well. What we have an instruction manual right here. The cartridge, there's our instruction booklet, and there you go. ISS Deluxe, again, is the one to go for. I think this cost me £1. I think I paid £1 for it. Again, not hugely valuable, not hugely collectible. Football or soccer games if you're in America. I'm going to call them football games from now on because we've got quite a few to get through here. Some are reasonable. This one probably is decent, but again, you're looking for ISS Deluxe, which I don't have. But there you go, ISS. I don't want to set anything on top of Zelda, so Zelda can be at the top. Another game we have is Super Soccer, which I see here on the back was $12.99 pre-owned, and that was back in sort of the 90s. The game was released 1992, according to the copyright. It's a kind of... well, it's a football game, really. It's a soccer slash... I'm going to call it football, because, you know, that's the proper name. Doesn't have an inlet and just has one of these things. Again, not worth much these days. Boxed, not a very desirable game. The goalkeeper on the front does look like Oliver Kahn, though. Suspiciously like Oliver Kahn. Didn't he sue EA for using his likeness? He did. He sued EA. Remember, it was like 2003 or something. He sued EA for using his likeness without permission. But it does look like him. It does look like Oliver Kahn, former German international goalkeeper. We'll set this. We won't set it on top of Zelda. Okay, Zelda is the most valuable. That's the least valuable. That can sit at the bottom. Not in the best condition. Not really worth a huge amount. Speaking of not worth a huge amount, we have FIFA 96. Interestingly, this was the first FIFA game to feature licensed players. We do have FIFA International Soccer as well. This was the first FIFA game. Quite a few FIFA games. We were a fan of FIFA back in the day, but yeah, FIFA 95 was the second FIFA game, but FIFA 96 was the first one to feature fully licensed team. You got Dennis Bergkamp, it looks like, on the front of it, I think, and looks like some Irish player. I don't know, no idea who it is though. Sure, someone will know. I think it's David Platt that's on the front of FIFA International Soccer. The one to go for FIFA International Soccer is the 3DO version because it's in 3D. But these games, they're not hugely collectible. Like, FIFA has been released on every single system. These were available on the Mega Drive as well. Of course, FIFA International Soccer was available on the 3DO. The 3DO version was in 3D, crucially enough. So there you go. They're not worth much. Again, FIFA gets released every year. You had FIFA International Soccer was 94, FIFA 95, FIFA 96, and then there's been a FIFA every year until the current year. So let's take a look at Animaniacs. This is, I would say, one of the hidden gems on the Super Nintendo. I'd recommend picking this up. Of course, you get to play as the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot. Don't forget Dot. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. It was pretty nice. It did have a story to it. You had Pinky and the Brain were the bad guys in it. Made by Konami, back when Konami made some amazing games. I think this was the best of Konami, honestly. The 16-bit era was when Konami were at their best. It is a platformer. It is quite difficult. It's quite interesting that you have sort of 3 lives. You basically play as the 3 Animaniacs, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. There you go. And if you lose a life, of course, they lock them in the tower whenever they get caught. There you go. And you have to climb up the tower and rescue them. You do get continues as well. So basically what happens is you can play as either one of them. Either one of the characters. You can also stack them up if you want to jump to a higher platform. You can press a button to do that. I love the music for this game. It had the Animaniacs theme, it had the Pinky and the Brain theme, and it had some amazing worlds. Basically what you had to do was you went around the movie studio and it had like other... They had like themed world. It had like a fantasy world. It had a sort of pirate themed world. It had a sci-fi themed world, and you had to collect script pages. I remember that. You had to stop Pinky and the Brain releasing Batman versus Superman, I guess, because it's Warner Brothers. maybe that's the plot. Really, you work for the Warner CEO, but it is quite cool. It's quite a cool game. We talked a lot about this game because it's one of those games that I'd recommend it. Recommend picking it up. It's a decent platformer, has really amazing music, has amazing animation. I love the way the Animaniacs just danced along to the music whenever you just do nothing. So there you go, that's Animaniacs. Up next we've got Mortal Kombat. It's Mortal Kombat, the ultimate fighting game. Now you can see by the writing on it, I bought this from a library. They were having it on sale. You can see the sticker on there. They are kind of messed up, really, but yeah, it's got like a library number on it. They were selling this. They had a big box a few years ago. I think it was like 2004, 2005-ish time. They sold a lot of their Super Nintendo and N64 and Super Nintendo N64 Dreamcast is what they were selling, and I bought the majority of the box. And I bought this. It's not Mortal Kombat 2. It is, I think it's the censored version. No, it's Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 it is actually. So it was the uncensored version. It is 15. There it is up there. It does have a BBFC rating on it. So yeah, not in the best condition. We will have to clean off. If I was ever going to sell it, I would clean off the marker pen stuff. It's just gonna... I don't know what BCC means. But it's got like a library code and it's got like a serial number on it as well. But yeah, they were getting rid of them, so I think I paid, they were like £3 each for SNES games, which nowadays is an absolute steal, because this game was certainly worth more. I should point out that these are all European SNES games. The US SNES games do look different, and I will show you a US SNES game. This is a US SNES game, Contra 3, the Alien Wars. This is the European, there's European and American, same as the Super Famicom games, which was the Japanese Super Nintendo. So there you go, we got Contra 3, the Alien Wars import. You had to use something like this bad boy to play them. So what you did was, you see here it's got 2 cartridge inputs. You plug that into your SNES, right? You plug it in, you'd pop your US game on the top like that, and then you would take your European game and you would hook it in to the side. I can never get it in. Does it go in? Yeah, there it is. There you go. And yeah, your SNES would look like that inside your SNES. Not very aesthetic, but that's how you played American games in your Super Nintendo. It helped to use a Nintendo game, an actual game made by Nintendo apparently, but there you go, that's how you played American games. That is the converter. I do kind of like the American look. It looks like a castle, I find. Like the sort of brickwork for a castle on the side, I think, which looks pretty cool. Contra 3, another Konami game. Again, I said Konami were amazing in the 16-bit era. They produced some amazing games. Contra 3, shit, I ran it. ISS Deluxe, Animaniacs was amazing. ran out of thoughts. Contra 3, Super Castlevania 4. That was it. I was trying to think, what Castlevania game did they make in the SNES era? That was amazing, that one. I don't own that. Really would love to own it, but there you go. Contra 3, the Alien Wars. Quite an expensive game these days. Unboxed. Again, I have the US version. It's a bit less rare, the US version. Interestingly enough, if you want a really cool cartridge, buy Doom, the US version of Doom, as it comes in a red cartridge. I do wish I owned that version. I do have Mario Kart, again, the US version. I do have the European version, which I don't know where it is. I tried to find it, but I don't know what's happened to it. I do own it. There it is. Mario Kart needs no explanation, really. Amazing kart racing game. Should point out that the American games had the game name on the end label here. If you look at a European game, for example, nothing on the end. So you could stack them on a shelf like that, and you could see what game you had, because you had an end label. No end labels on the European and Japanese versions of the game. Let's move on, and let's look at the sequel to Punch-Out!, which was titled Super Punch-Out!, because it was on the Super Nintendo. I prefer this one to the original Punch-Out!. I think it's a better game. It is more cartoony. It doesn't feature Mike Tyson in this one, but it is still very similar to Punch-Out! In that you start off as a sort of unnamed boxer and you fight your way through the sort of divisions. I think I can't remember, there was like the World Circuit, there was the Minor Circuit, Major Circuit, World Circuit, and Special Circuit, I think, was the final one. But yeah, this was pretty good. Check this one out. A lot of people don't really rate it that highly. It's not rated as highly as the NES Punch-Out!, but I thought it was decent at the time. Anyway, we'll move on to Super Mario All-Stars, which is the pack-in game which came with my Super Nintendo. It's basically the first compilation, well, not compilation, but first sort of remake of games, remaster, should we say. It was basically all of the NES Mario games. You had Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, and you had Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels, which was the Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2, because of course the Super Mario Brothers 2 that was released in the West was very different to Super Mario Brothers 3. I think it was, what, Doki Doki Panic or something like that was the Japanese version. They just reskinned that with Mario characters. But yeah, there you go, the first sort of remake compilation collection. It was Nintendo that did it. You know, you thought Microsoft and Sony were bad, but there you go. Had updated graphics, had better colors, better backgrounds, updated for the 16-bit console. But it is just the NES games. They play the exact same. Definitely worth your while collecting this, I find. There is another version of Super Mario All-Stars, which does include Super Mario World as well, which is a bit rarer and harder to find. This one's quite common, because again, it was a pack-in. That's the version I got, the Super Mario All-Stars package. What I found, up next we have Star Wing, or as it was known in the US, Star Fox. Now, it was called Star Wing in the UK because Star Fox was already copyrighted, so that's why it's called Star Wing. But it basically is the same, uses the Super FX chip, has the Super FX chip logo. Did feature a 3D world with 3D polygons as well. Quite an amazing game, an amazing flight game. Star Fox 2 is coming to the Super Nintendo, the Mini SNES Classic, or whatever the hell they're calling it. No, I didn't get a pre-order. I got the email from Nintendo shop, 12:30. I clicked the link at 12:35. Gone. Absolutely gone. So disappointed about that, not to get Star Fox 2, but there you go. That is the original Star Wing, or Star Fox, as it was known. Up next, we've got Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Another library game. This one has had the pen kind of scrubbed off. I don't know if you can see it faintly, but you'll be able to see it there. You can see it the right way around if you want to see the numbers. Another game I bought in the library collection. This was quite an interesting one. It did use the Super FX chip. It did have polygons as well. It did feature things like that. Was a pretty interesting game. You didn't play as Mario. You played as Yoshi, and you had to carry Baby Mario on your back. I never really played too much of this. I bought this again in 2005. We also have the original Super Mario World, which was made exclusively, it was kind of the exclusive 16-bit Mario game. Like Mario All-Stars had the remake. I don't know why it's all dirty at the back. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what that is. No idea. Pray to God it's chocolate. I have no idea. I have no idea. Again, you were a kid when you owned this, so, you know. Grubby. It looks like there's a grubby handprint on the back of it. Need to give these a clean, really. If I was ever going to sell them, I mean, I keep them. I'm never going to sell them. But, I mean, Super Mario World was an amazing game. Speaking of amazing game, this one's dirty at the back as well. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, made by Capcom. Again, what the hell? What the hell is going wrong with that? I mean, I let people borrow these games. I shouldn't let people borrow these. It's gone yellow as if someone's been smoking while using it. Again, I've owned this from back in the day. So, again, did let friends borrow these as well. Never let friends borrow games. I used to have a friend that used to borrow them. You'd give him the box, and you give him the pack, he'd throw the bloody box away. He'd throw fucking money away, that guy. Seriously. But Super Ghouls and Ghosts, it is a platformer game. It is a sequel to Ghosts and Goblins. Again, this was famous for you getting to the second last level, thinking you were about to beat the game, and then it sent you all the way back to the start to find a specific item. But still a very good game, very highly collectible. Back when Capcom made some amazing games for the SNES. Capcom and Konami, I think, were at their best on the Super Nintendo era. Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, Genesis era. That kind of era, they were pretty good. Another game that we got, another one that's kind of, no one really talks about. What's it called? Super Strike Gunner. There you go. Made by Activision, as you can see, or the logo there, Activision. It was a top-down shmup. Not a lot of people talk about it. I mean, it's alright. I mean, it's not worth a huge amount. It's not like super rare or super collectible or anything, but it's a top-down shooter. You get like weapon upgrades, and it's got a fairly decent soundtrack, I would say, but other than that, it's just not really remarkable. I mean, if this is one of those games where like your uncle or your sort of grandparents would see, oh, you like video games, so they just pick it up because, you know, it looked nice. It's got a purple, it had a purple cover as well. I do have the boxes for these games, but I don't know where they are currently. I might look them out and we'll have a look through them. We'll see what we get. I might do another video with the boxes. But yeah, it has a snazzy purple cover. It's got jets in it. This is the kind of game you got as a present as a kid. But it's not bad, actually. If you pick this up today, you think, okay, it's okay. Nothing bad about it. It's just your typical top-down shmup. Think of it as something like 1944 or something like that. I remember that old arcade game that Capcom made. But yeah, it's kind of similar to that. Really, up next we have Home Alone. Interesting one, made by Toy Headquarters, or THQ, who are no longer in business. This was alright. It was a kind of platformer. You had to collect valuables. You played as Kevin McAllister, and you had to collect valuables, and you had to deposit them down the garbage chute. It was you used to deposit all the valuables down there. You had to avoid Harry and Marv as well, and for some weird reason you thought like you would get all the valuables, then you would go down to the basement, and then you would like fight a rat or a big spider or something like that. That was how the levels were arranged. Bit weird. You never really fought Harry and Marv, which was a bit pointless. You could trap them as well. There was like traps hidden around, and you know, they would chase you. You would get pursued by Harry or Marv, and leading them into traps. Obviously, you had to do that, but it wasn't the main objective of the game. They were just kind of an annoyance there, so it was kind of weird. You had like a water gun thing. You could use weapons like a bowling ball, etc. You had like what's called the air rifle as well. You got that as well, but the water pistol was like the default gun. It kind of just annoyed them as well. But you could like lead them under things and trap them and kill them. And Home Alone was a horror movie, right? Remember that? It was more of a horror movie than anything else. And our final game is Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which I had. This came in a metal tin, and I don't know where the metal tin is. I used to play this quite a bit, actually. I used to play this. My friend had Mortal Kombat. He had a Mega Drive. He lived next door, and we used to come over, and we used to go over. I used to go over to his house when we wanted to play Sonic, but when we wanted to play something like Street Fighter or Super Mario World or something like that, we'd go over to my house and play it. But this is one of the games we played quite a bit. Super Street Fighter 2 is Turbo. It is the Turbo. No, it's not Super Street Fighter. It's just Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But yeah, it came in a metal tin. Had some amazing. There's a bit of paint on that there. Really need to look after these. This one's kind of alright condition. There's a bit of paint there. You can see other side. Other side. It's the opposite. Right there. Take a finger away. There's a bit of paint on it. But yeah, it did come in a metal tin. It did have a Street Fighter 2 badge. I do still have the metal tin. Again, I just don't know where it is. Quite valuable, the one in the metal tin. If you still have the metal tin, you can, you know, expect to pay a decent amount of money for that metal tin. But yeah, it was a pretty good game. I don't think Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was on this. Was that on the SNES? I don't remember if it was or not. But there you go. That is my Super Nintendo collection. I'm still missing quite a few games. Would love Super Castlevania 4. Would really love that. That's the only one that I really love. I want Doom. A, because it has a red cartridge. That's the only reason I want it. It's like, it had that, only red. Blood red. Imagine that. It looks cool as shit. I don't want the European one. I want the US version of it. So there you go. That is my SNES collection. Might add to it. I mean, the problem with SNES games these days is they're expensive. They're pretty expensive these days. Most people, see, when I was buying them sort of 2004, 2005-ish, I started to collect them, people were getting rid of them. Like those library games, they were £3 each. I mean, you can't get Yoshi's Island for £3 now. Yoshi's Island, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for £3 a pop. We did get some N64 and some Dreamcast games, including Shenmue 2. Shenmue 2 we got. Unreleased in the US as well on the Dreamcast. Shenmue 2 was released in Europe. Imagine getting that for £3. You know, yeah, it was in poor condition, but you know, it was still Shenmue 2, and it was still a bargain at that price. Nowadays, everyone who's selling SNES games knows their value. People aren't trying to get rid of them nowadays. So that was the thing I found. 10 years after a console's life cycle, people are trying to get rid of them, and the prices go down. Whereas nowadays, if you own a SNES game, they're in the hands of collectors, and collectors want top dollar essentially for them. I would want top dollar for most of these games. I would clean them up if I was going to sell them. I would clean them up. They all work really, so I don't care what sort of grubby condition they're in, as long as they work, in my opinion. Games are there to be played. Well, that's my opinion. I don't believe in buying a game sealed and just keeping a hold of it in the hope that its value increases. I'm not a fan of that when it comes to retro gaming. I am a big fan of playing games. Okay, of course we could just play them all on emulators. I don't really play these games that often now. You could just get an emulator, and yes, the SNES Mini is coming out, and yes, I want one, but I'm not going to pay top dollar for one of them, unfortunately. I'm just certainly not going to play one. I'm not going to pay top dollar. I do want Star Fox 2, though. I really do. Most of the games, I think, are on the collection. I think Super Castlevania 4 is on it as well. But I really, really wanted one of those SNES Minis. The N64 Mini apparently is going to come. We might take a look at some N64 games. We might take a look at the SNES. Might bring out the SNES and have a little look at it. But anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me. I was just having a clean out and I found some SNES games. So I decided I'll do a little video on it. We might do some more. We've got Sega Saturn games. We've got PS1 games. We've got many other consoles. We might do some more of them. But anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me. I will see you again soon, and goodbye.